Hey guys, it's Dan here. I haven't made a vlog in a little while. I've made a couple of travel videos and I was traveling, but I haven't actually made a sit down talk about things vlog in quite a while. And so, for those of you that don't know, this is my dog. His name is Shippo. He's a Shiba, and he's a good boy. You a good boy? Um, This was not scripted, by the way. He does this whenever he's got the chance. Stop, boy, stop. And so, anyway, um, let's talk about my travels last year. So it's currently 2024. It's July 2024. But last year, I went on a trip around Asia. So in January of 2023, I quit my job, took a hiatus. I didn't want to go on like a leave of absence or anything like that. I just wanted to quit because I didn't know exactly when I would be back. The initial time I was gone, my initial plan, I should say, was I was going to go to Hawaii first for a few weeks with my dad and go visit my family. I have an aunt and uncle that live over there. So I would have done Hawaii for a few weeks, and then Japan for about a month, South Korea for about a month, Taiwan for a few weeks, and then I would dip into Southeast Asia. So I would go to Vietnam, I'd go to Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, and just kind of make my way down and then come back home once I reached Singapore. That was the initial plan. I decided to leave in February, even though I quit my job in January. I gave myself about a month to kind of plan everything. So I had a list, a Google Doc, a Google spreadsheet of all the places I wanted to see and approximately how much I should budget in each place. I was, planning where I was going to stay and what I was going to do. And so the Hawaii trip was great. I'm going to start basically in segments, and each video will be kind of its own story about what I did there. So, in the first trip I did, or the first leg of my trip, I guess, was the few weeks that I spent in Hawaii. So this trip was unique because I did not have a return ticket. I was going to go to Japan next, so I basically could just take as much time as I wanted. Just planned out how long do I want to be in Hawaii for. Thankfully, my aunt Jennifer had a place there, obviously her current home, and an extra bedroom and all that. So lodging was super cheap. She had a car I could drive. I just paid for the gas, and everything was great. So we started actually in Maui. That was the first place my dad and I landed. I had never been to Maui, so that was really unique. And in Maui, we got to rent a car, and then we drove up kind of to the touristy spots of Maui, and where all the hotels are and the resorts and all that. And we spent the night, I forgot what beach exactly, but in kind of I don't know, probably a 2-star rated hotel. It was like a motel basically, but it was nice enough. It had a shower and a little kitchenette, and it was like 2 feet from the beach. So you just walked across the street and you were right at the beach. And that beach was nothing special. It was a beach. That was the first time I put my foot in the water on Maui. So that was kind of a cool experience. Walked down the beach with my dad a little bit. He has a hurt foot, so he shattered his ankle when I was younger. So we, the walking on the beach is hard for him because his ankle doesn't bend very well. So we did that, and then the second day we left and we rented a van off of Turo, I think it was called Turo. We rented a van with a bed in the back. It was just like one of those white panel vans with a mattress in the back, and we did the Road to Hana and beyond. So we rented a guide, or I guess bought a app, which was a tour guide called Shaka. I think it was just called Shaka. And one of the old radio hosts was the one kind of that that did the Shaka guide, and it was a really cool experience because as we were making our way through Hana, or on the road to Hana, which is, if you don't know, basically the other side of Maui, they would basically spot, like GPS, they would see where we are, and then the radio guy would talk about the things that we were seeing as we were going around there. So it was really a really cool experience, actually. We basically had a personal tour guide that did not require internet, that everywhere we stopped or everywhere we were driving past, he kind of described what was the cool thing to see there, or what to do, where to stop, where maybe not to stop, depending on how quick you wanted to get through it all, kind of what to see, what maybe leave for next time, that type of thing. So what were the must-sees, basically. And it was a really cool thing. It was like $20 or $25 or something, and it tour guided us there throughout the whole, all of the Hana trip. So that was awesome. So we stopped and we saw the sea turtles, which was really cool. That was the first time me seeing sea turtles. They were just laid up on the beach over there. And then we drove up and just saw some waterfalls, did some driving. That's kind of what I remember, mainly. And then we eventually got to Hana, and we camped out at one of the campgrounds over there, which was right next to the PPY Trail, if you know where that is. Forgot the actual name of the campground. What, Chippo? What? The name of the campground, but it was pretty nice. We just parked on the grass, and then there was no place for us that we needed to camp because we had the van in the back. So it was about 5:30, 6 p.m. when we got to that campsite on the second day on Maui. And we originally had planned to do the PPY Trail in the morning to go see that waterfall. It looked really nice on the pictures. And it was about 5:36, and I said, hey, Dad, we've been driving all day. I haven't really done anything. Would you want to just do this now in the evening? And then tomorrow we can just leave whenever. And he's like, yeah, sure. So we started to make our hike all the way up the PPY Trail. And if memory serves, it was like an hour up, hour back, something like that. So it wasn't a short trip, but it wasn't super long. But a lot of incline. So my dad, at the very beginning, he found a hiking stick, thank God, and he was able to kind of truck along on the PPY Trail the entire time, which was really cool. And we got to the waterfall at the very end. And then I think what happened was there was like a little river that I had to pass. And so my dad didn't get in the water, which was fine, but I did. And I fell and kind of like hurt my shin a little bit, but whatever, it wasn't that big of a deal. But when I had fallen, I actually, I think my sunglasses came off of my shirt and went into the water. Didn't realize it until the next day, but lost my sunglasses at PPY Trail. And then saw the waterfall. It was awesome, really, really huge, really tall. Got some pictures, and then on the way back, my phone was at like 5% because I wasn't charging it throughout that day. I had the app going the whole time, and my dad only had like 10% on his phone or something. So by the time I got up there, my phone was dead, and my dad's phone was at like 7%. And so it started getting really dark, and then all of a sudden it became pitch black, and we were like one of the last people there, no one else around. It was just me, my dad. And then all of a sudden it starts downpouring on us, like complete like storm downpouring, and it didn't stop. Normally Hawaii goes rain, sun, rain, sun. Well, it was nighttime, and it just rained and rained and rained. It downpoured on us, and my phone was completely dead. I had no flashlight because, again, we didn't plan to do this trip in the dark or in the evening, so I had no flashlight. And my dad had a phone that had like 5% battery on it. So we had his flashlight going on the phone, and I would have to like I would walk down a few steps because it's super muddy, super slippery, and pouring rain. So I'd like go down a few steps, turn around, shine the light for my dad so he could see his steps come down. Turn around, few steps, turn around, shine the light, a few steps for him. And about halfway down, we hear some rustling in the bushes next to us. And I look over, and my eyes are pretty adjusted to the darkness by then, so I could see. And I said, hey, it's a boar, Dad. And it had like tusks and everything. And he's just like, uh-oh, don't, like, those are wild boars. They're not friendly. I'm like, oh, crap. And then 3 little baby boars were next to her, or next to the big boar. And I'm like, oh, it's a family of boars. And he's like, get away from them, because he knows he used to live in Hawaii, and he knows that the boars, not only are they not very friendly, they're wild, but also we're in their territory, and if there's baby boars to protect, then they might get aggressive. So thankfully nothing happened, but that was a kind of a, oh my God, are you kidding me? The second day on my trip, and we're already in danger and just ill prepared to do this. Thankfully, they were more scared of us than we were of them, and they ran off once they heard us. But that was kind of a cool experience. Unfortunately, I didn't get a picture of it because my phone was dead, and we were using the other phone as a flashlight. So anyway, we made our way down, and then we passed out. Next morning, I woke up super early, at like 5:30 or something, and I saw the sunrise right out of the van window in the back. That was cool. And then we did the 7 Sacred Pools trail right next to the campsite. So basically, we were sleeping here. The PPY trail was this way. If you just walked about 5 minutes across the street, you could get to it. And then the 7 Sacred Pools were coincidentally like right next to us. We didn't realize. So that was pretty cool. That trip was like, that trail, it's a trail, but it was like less than a mile, it felt like. You just walked around that little loop, and then you could see the waterfalls. And the waterfalls were really cool. They basically were waterfalls from the PPY trail, I think, and then just coming that river that comes down the mountain from the big waterfall up there, the Waimoku Falls. It would come down, and then it would just like dip, and then it would be this pond, basically the pool, and then it would dip again and dip again and dip again. And I guess there's 7 of them in total. So that was pretty cool. And then the last one just dipped out into the ocean. So it was cool. The PPY trail and the falls were cooler, but the 7 Sacred Pools were right there. We had to do it. So that was cool. And then we left the campsite after just one day, and we went to go get some food. We had some really good food, actually. I forgot the name of the restaurant, but it was one of the only restaurants there. And then we just kind of hung out. We also had breakfast at that, I guess it was like the King Something's Hotel. We had breakfast there as well, and that breakfast was pretty terrible. And then we left and went to did the rest of Hana. So my dad said, do you want to just drive back the way we came, or would you like to go around? It's supposed to be pretty dangerous on the other side. You're not supposed to bring rental cars. And we're like, well, I mean, we look like locals. We have an actual van. We're not like in like a Dodge whatever, Mustang or anything. Like, we saw so many Mustangs there. We're not in like a clear rent-a-car. We're in more of a local car, so we might not get that big of a deal. And it wasn't like what's the rental car company, Expedia or whatever. It wasn't a rental car company really. It was Turo, so it's a bit different. There weren't any of rules like that we had to sign. We couldn't go to that side. The owner of the truck or the van was really cool. So anyway, we ended up doing the rest of the trail. We drove all the way across Hana. There were some really cool places there, but the roads got real bad at certain points. And we got to a point where there was just no civilization, just road and uphill, creaky, cracked up road. Asphalt was all terrible, and like we're driving up this hill, and it's a 1-lane hill. So if a car's coming down, like you got to kind of pull over, but there's really no room to pull over. So it's kind of a unique situation. If anybody ever came up, somebody's got to like back out, and sometimes there were these like places you could drive into on the mountain just to give the other guy room to pass. But if you fell, like you were falling 500 feet down into the ocean. It was like right on the edge, and really bad roads, kind of sketchy. But there were also really just miles of nothing, and then all of a sudden you'll see a mailbox, like somebody lives on that property, and it's like, oh God, no Amazon packages there. We got maybe mail once every 6 months. A UPS guy will come out there, but it can't possibly be, regularly. And then, it was mostly like that for the rest of the Hana on the other side. The Shaka guys said Road to Hana, and then we bought the extra and beyond part, which was basically the road back to the Kahului, I think it was called, is the main city. So we did that, and then just miles of dirt, or miles of just grassland, kind of. It almost looked like a completely different country. and you could see the oceans way out in the distance there, but it was just so far away that the waves looked flat. Like you could see the foam on the ocean, like the white, but they didn't even move. Even in an airplane up there, you could see kind of, they're moving a little bit in the ocean if you just look down at the ocean in the airplane from 20,000 feet or whatever. But we were just so far off the coast, you could see the ocean really clearly, but it was still so far away, it just looked flat. It was really cool. And then we saw this car, we got out, and there were a bunch of like animal bones and this abandoned car with all the glass broken and everything was taken out of it. There was just a bunch of trash inside, like just whatever. I don't know what it was used for, who abandoned it, but whatever. We stopped there. And then we saw in the distance there were like a ton of windmills on the edge, which is pretty common in Hawaii. Even on Oahu, there's a bunch of windmills. So that was basically the Maui trip, and then we got back. We went to the pineapple winery and did like a wine tasting with pineapple wine, which was not that great. The pineapple champagne was okay, but yeah, for the most part, it was a fun trip. It was just a couple of days, like 3 days, I think, in total. And then we left that night. We left over to Maui, or the next day, I think it was. We left Maui over to Oahu. And we were originally going to go to the Big Island immediately after Maui, but I guess there was a storm on the Big Island, so we decided to just go to Oahu first, wait the storm out, and then go to the Big Island later. So we were there. This is kind of like Oahu part 1, since we went to the Big Island after, and then we came back to Oahu after we were at the Big Island. So there was kind of like 2-part Oahu, but it was like Maui, Oahu, and then the Big Island, then back to Oahu. So my next video will kind of be Oahu, my experience on Oahu part 1, where there was a lot more to do. We were in Hawaii for a total of about 3 weeks, I believe. So, we were only 3 days in Maui, and the majority of it was on Oahu. So that's my Maui trip. It was a blast. I had a lot of fun with my dad, a lot of driving around, just talking and hiking, which was great because my dad's has a health condition now with his heart that I don't think he'd be able to do that anymore. So it was really cool to be able to hike with him at least one last time. So thanks for watching, guys. I will post my next video, which will be Oahu part 1. So subscribe if you want to listen to that one. See ya.